Okay, turn on the suction.
Oh, don't do that. Ladder drama, sketchy medical practices, and taking the leg off? What? Get ready to laugh and hopefully learn a little, because today we are breaking down and reacting to all of the hilarious medical scenes and injuries from The Simpsons. All right, let's make like Bart and dive right in.
While you were studying.
Oh!
Oh!
Dad, are you okay?
Yeah. In fact, I feel fantastic.
Back pain is actually one of the #1 reasons why people actually don't work. Everybody gets back pain at some point in their life. A lot of times it's so complex and it's multifactorial. It could be muscles, it could be nerves, it could be a disc in your back, it could be a fracture. Our bodies want to get back to homeostasis, basically meaning a state of balance. And so if you're out of whack, at some point your body wants to fix itself, but if you're not aiding that by strengthening your back, strengthening your core, you might have continued back pain.
Sue, better not sue.
Oh!
Hey, it worked!
So these are hyperextension moves. You got to be really careful because they're going through large movements. When a chiropractor or an osteopathic physician does an adjustment, they're doing movements that are super simple. So they actually take you to a point where they're doing a procedure that's actually called HVLA, which is high velocity, low amplitude. So it's quick, but it's actually a very short period of time, and they're not doing a lot of force to it.
Yes, my car seems to have broken down, and I was wondering if I could use your... Oh, that's a pushing motion.
Simpson, you're not a licensed chiropractor.
Oh man, this is always the concern of wondering if you are seeing somebody who's a trained professional, who has board certification, went to medical school. We get this all the time on our channel where people are like, oh, you're a fake doctor, or you can look up any doctor's credentials online of the board certification, the state.
D and Dr. Steffi.
Boy, talk about irony. The AMA tries to drive you guys out of business. Now you're doing the same to me.
So the AMA is the American Medical Association. You have medical doctors like a MD or a DO that can perform surgeries and write prescriptions, and then you have other doctors like a PhD, or you have a chiropractor who is a doctor of chiropractic medicine, which unfortunately they cannot prescribe medications and they don't do surgeries. So there's different degrees of this, and so the American Medical Association is just the governing body relating to MDs and DOs.
We don't have internet!
gotta have somebody
it'll come back.
holding the ladder
Refresh.
so
Oh,
it
this is
doesn't
pointless.
fall, and we know
Refresh.
what's gonna happen.
No, refresh.
Oh!
You guys need jackets!
No, we're fine. No.
The internet's back on!
Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Lightning is a direct current, so it actually causes one big huge jolt. Typically you won't continuously get electrocuted like that. Like when you get bad electrical injuries, you worry about basically cardiac arrhythmia, so you go into VFib or VTAC. And then the other thing you always worry about are frying your nerves, blood vessels, heating up your body in the sense of causing burn injuries, burn your muscles, or you can get cataracts, which is actually clouding of your lens of your eyes.
Doctor, is he gonna be alright?
Millions of volts course through his body, but it was the amps that really messed with him.
Amps?
But he should be fine.
Typically, if you have high amperage, then it's more concerning than the higher volts. That's just what he's getting at. And it looks like Bart's having continuous EEG monitoring on his head. Typically, if somebody is in a coma, unconscious, has had abnormalities with the brain, they can actually continue to monitor brain waves, and typically a neurologist needs to interpret these actual brain waves.
According to his chart, Bart's had more comas than he's had hot breakfasts.
Well, I can't cook every morning.
Until he recovers, just talk to him. Lightning victims are highly suggestible. Your kind words could turn his coma into a trip to Hawaii or a golf excursion to St. Andrews, which is where I'm heading now.
I say this to family members of patients all the time. You may or may not know if they're actually hearing or aware that a loved one's in the room. I would hope that the body and the mind is able to know that depending on what state of unconsciousness that somebody is in. So always suggest the healing touch or the healing voice of somebody they know or comforting. Have any of you guys been struck by lightning? Let me know if you guys have any experience with being electrocuted by accident.
Okay, turn on
Oh,
the
God.
suction.
Oh, don't do that. A lot of suction injuries that happens, it comes to the emergency department for many different reasons. You always worry about the suctioning because it's actually drawing a lot of blood to the tissue, which is going to cause a lot of inflammation to that area, which then can cause actually injury to the tissue. Now Homer got his eye stuck in there and then he sucked out his eye. It won't suck all the way out because you have 6 muscles that attach there plus the optic nerve. He pulled out his eye to where it's actually a medical term that we actually use called ex-ophthalmos, basically where the eyeball is actually coming further out from the ridge of your eye socket, basically. For many different reasons. The most common reasons we have that is basically from thyroid disorders, but it can happen from trauma. We'll literally see people who have a retrobulbar hematoma, which basically there's blood behind the eye and it starts pushing it forward. Our concern about this is as you push it forward, you're actually stretching the blood vessel and decreasing blood flow to the eye itself, and it can cause ischemia. We actually do a procedure called a lateral canthotomy, which is an emergency where you actually cut the ligament of the eye so you can actually have the eye protrude a little bit more, but in its sense, it allows the blood to flow out and decreases pressure. Old school. Oh, geez.
You got it.
Hey, Bart, your epidermis is showing.
Such a dad joke or a doctor joke. Epidermis or your dermis, and your epidermis is just layers of your skin. Oh my goodness. All of their epidermises are showing.
See, epidermis means your hair.
Nope. Oh! I always tell people we have to be really worried about falls from greater than 3 times your own height, pretty much about 15 feet or so, where you're really worried about all different injuries, not just the obvious ones. Internal injuries in the brain, external injuries into the thorax and the abdomen, and then obviously if there's any broken limbs. He has an obvious deformity to his leg that his friend's able to identify. We're trained to identify that, but don't focus on it because you may miss something else.
Sorry, that leg's gonna have to come off.
Oh my gosh. You gotta read the room if you want to try to make a joke. There's a big gap where his fracture is. That could just be a comminuted fracture, a lot of missing bone pieces. If that does occur, you'll probably get a medullary rod, so a rod through the middle part of the bone versus actually a plate or just a splint or a cast. That one actually looks like it needs surgery. So you're taking off wet bathing suit, that sort of thing. But his bathing suit wouldn't be wet because he actually never made it into the water. Anyway.
Cast on that broken bone.
Oh, I'm gonna miss the whole summer.
Don't worry, boy. When you get a job like me, you'll miss every summer.
He's just gonna put a cast on it. Put a cast on where the bones can actually heal together. If there's too much of a gap, it's not like they're gonna like magically grow together. You need to actually help augment that. There's a lot of injuries that happen around pools, people falling, injuries, fractures, dislocations, internal bleeding, and then even drowning. So be really, really careful. I love The Simpsons. This is fantastic. If you guys love this and you like this reaction, definitely check out this playlist right here. And as always, please make sure that you subscribe and turn your bell notifications on, and definitely hit that like button for me. Thank you so much for watching, and stay healthy, my friends.